Cyclone Gabrielle caused a lot of damage in the east coast of the North Island in 2023. There was widespread flooding, there were landslips, and unfortunately a tragic loss of life in the Hawke's Bay area. What would happen if a storm like Gabrielle struck Auckland directly? I'm here on Mount Victoria, which would be one of the areas that would experience the strongest wind speeds should a cyclone like Gabrielle have come across Auckland. Here we modelled speeds of around 200 kilometres an hour, which is enough to cause quite significant damage. But of course, the wind speeds around all of Auckland would not be as severe. It would be quite different. In low areas or areas that were sheltered, the speed's obviously less. But other areas would suffer very heavy rainfall and perhaps flooding, and other areas would get subject to coastal inundation from storm surge or suffer landslides. One of the tools that we use to understand the impacts of these hazards is called RiskScape. RiskScape is a tool for integrating all that different hazard information and coming up with an overall picture of what the losses would be, of what the damage would be from the storm. Surface flooding from the intense rain rates would cause large impacts. There'd be road closures, there'd be flooding of houses, and obviously tremendous loss to people's property. Flooding would be the largest threat to human life. Rain-induced landslides can also cause problems. They can close roads, they can cause damage to roads, and they can also destroy property and houses. Coastal inundation from storm surge would also cause road closures, such as along Tāmaki Drive. There would also be coastal erosion, as the waves came up against cliffs, and also flooding for very low-lying properties along the coast. Some of the impacts from wind might not be what you think of automatically. These could be debris, causing glass to come out of buildings in the central business district. Other things you might know about, the closure of the Auckland Harbour Bridge, or power disruption when trees fall down on power lines. The damage caused by wind is caused by intense wind gusts. The flow around a particular building can affect what wind is experienced on another building. And so it's very important that we understand that. And we do have ways to study the wind gusts at that scale.
We do a finer resolution of the work, and this is mainly to see the impacts of winds from extratropical cyclones. We essentially put a scale model of Auckland CBD. This includes the buildings and a bit of the terrain. And these models are then met with wind speeds of such storms, and we measure forces on the buildings, the wind speeds above the buildings, and the wind speed change within the city. And all of these results help us understand the wind environment when a storm does hit Auckland City, and we can use that data to inform research institutes like NIWA and also councils like Auckland Council.
Why is it so important to have this understanding about transmission towers?
To be able to forecast wind loading on transmission lines could eventually save a lot of time and resources, and even save lives. And
will it help engineers design better pylons?
Yes, definitely. Yes, that was one of the main goals of this project. Yeah.
So every storm is different. Not everyone is going to be like Gabrielle. They're all unique. We have to expect the unexpected. And the best strategy is to be prepared. Have the processes in place at the household level, local government level, and central government level.